Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a brief moment to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Jordan Adrian. I'm a physical therapist and owner and founder of Limitless Concierge Physical Therapy based in Denver, Colorado. And I made this video because over the last couple of months, I had had some exposure to several different electronic medical records, and I had narrowed them down to my top two choices based on other people's feedback, other clinicians that had gone the same route kind of prior to me. And I narrowed it down to JaneApp and PT Everywhere. And I ended up doing a trial and checking out both of them. And I'd like to be able to provide some of the pros and cons so that other people that were in my situation and in the future can make an informed decision and really hone in on what's going to work best for and be a solution for their practice. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the nitty-gritty, trying to look at some of the pros and cons of both JaneApp versus PT Everywhere. So some of the key elements that we're going to be discussing during this video are how easy is each one to use, what is the responsiveness of the staff to questions, and how easy is it to troubleshoot problems. Are either one or which one has the best quality home exercise program? And what is the ease of accepting payments and rates? And then what is the price to value ratio of both JaneApp and PT Everywhere? So the first category we're going to cover, and we're going to be assigning points to each of the EMRs based on some of the features that I found to be more helpful on one versus the other, or we had a couple of ties in certain circumstances where both EMRs did a really great job at excelling in that particular category. So to start off, we're going to give a point to JaneApp for the ease of scheduling. And it was incredibly helpful kind of going through that scheduling as part of the demo clinic that they had set up, that you could go in and kind of play around with the software. And you could actually go in and put in kind of test patients, dummy patients on there. And then you could work on assigning different types of appointments to them. So you could really get a feel for what the functionality was. It was also very easy to be able to drag and drop appointments if you needed to reschedule. And then canceling was a breeze as well. Just had to right click and go down and select a reason for why that patient was canceling. It seems like there is a little bit less redundancy in JaneApp. And so I gave a second point in the user-friendly category to Jane because there were just less clicks that you had to utilize in order to get in between different screens, be able to get the different tasks that you wanted to accomplish. And this will save a lot of time, especially if you are in a higher volume clinic type setting. The less clicks, the better. I then went on and gave a point in this category to PT Everywhere because they did have a home exercise program that is their own home exercise program, and it is built in to the software. Versus with Jane, you have to go ahead and go through a third-party app called PhysiApp or PhysiTrack, but then you can integrate it in with Jane afterwards. So a point to PT Everywhere because that home exercise program is already built in and there's no integration required. And then finally, in the user-friendly category, I gave a third point to JaneApp for being able to set up patient profiles. This was also very easy and kind of intuitive to work into. It required less clicks overall, and you could even add a photo so that it was easy for front office staff, if you're in a clinic that utilizes staff, to be able to recognize patients and to be able to even assign credit cards on their files for ease of charging without having to have anybody even swipe if they allow you to save that card on file. Moving on to responsiveness to questions and the ability to troubleshoot problems with both JaneApp and PT Everywhere. I gave a point to both EMR softwares for their demo because I thought that they did an excellent job of talking you through any questions that you had, being really consumer friendly, and making sure that you had gotten any issues that you wanted to address before you went ahead and signed up for their software. So a point and kind of a tie for JaneApp and PT Everywhere for the demo feature. I also gave a second tie in this category for great customer service. All the staff that I interacted with in both companies were super professional, very knowledgeable, and were great at helping you to walk through things in easy to understand language. And so that was another tie in this category, was superb customer service for both. And then finally, I gave a point to JaneApp for their library of articles that they provide in order to give you some self-help. If you do encounter somewhere where you kind of get stuck and you're trying to work through things and you don't necessarily know where to find the answer that you're looking for, their library is super extensive, and you'll most likely find almost exactly what you're looking for if you type in the right keywords. And a lot of the articles will even have a video with a step-by-step kind of hand-holding guide to walking you through that issue. And if not, they have a couple paragraphs on the topic that will get pretty specific into how you can go about solving your problem. Moving on to our third category, we're going to talk about the home exercise program associated with both JaneApp and PT Everywhere. As I'd mentioned previously, I thought it was nice that PT Everywhere had their home exercise program already built in and included with your subscription. So there was no additional fee associated with that, and there was no integration required in between a third-party system and PT Everywhere. So a point to PT Everywhere for that. And a second point for the home exercise program to PT Everywhere, because they do allow you to record and upload your own exercises. So a feature that patients will really love, in that they can actually see themselves performing the exercise with your feedback, either kind of written or even talking over that recording, so that they can access it at home. They can get that specific feedback that is in your voice and talking to them. And so I really like that feature of PT Everywhere. On the other end, JaneApp does a really good job of integrating. It is pretty easy to integrate with the FiziApp or the FiziTrack software that they have kind of partnered with. And I much preferred the exercise selection in FiziApp or FiziTrack, and that they have over 15,000 different exercises to choose from, versus PT Everywhere at the time was around 1,000. And so I gave a point to JaneApp for their partnership with FiziApp, because I personally really thought that the exercise selection was much greater, and they also have great educational material that's easy to attach to that home exercise program. And it's all very easy to send over to your patient via an email for them to download and to be able to watch their videos, or even if they prefer paper, they can print out a PDF that you can attach to that email that you're sending over with their home exercise program. So I thought that was great. And then that second point, like we just mentioned, is they have much larger exercise selection. It was very easy and intuitive to use FiziApp, and being able to compile a list of several exercises, as well as maybe an education sheet should your patient be suffering from osteoarthritis or rotator cuff tear, even all the way down into just general information on body mechanics and lifting. Great to be able to reinforce some of the things that you talked about during your session with something that they can access 24/7. Our fourth category is the ease of accepting payments. And I personally prefer JaneApp in this category, and that's why I gave it 2 points to 1 versus PT Everywhere. It was very easy to be able to send invoices to that patient's portal, and each patient has their own area where they can go in and access anything PT related. They can even go in and enter their billing information, their credit card on their end, and they can make payments once you have invoiced them, without ever having to physically handle their card, carry around a mag strip, especially if you're mobile. This is super helpful, and just having one less thing to remember. And then you don't ruin a really good session by kind of having that conversation about money at the end. You can have them looking forward to their next session versus being worried about having that extra barrier of that cost and physically seeing themselves paying for that service at the end. So a big point to JaneApp for that. I did like that PT Everywhere has a little bit better rate per transaction through their service provider, which is Go Card Connect or CardPoint. Especially if you key in the entries, you can get a pretty good rate. I think even the swipe is around 2.7 or so, which is a little bit lower than what JaneApp was charging with their partnership with Stripe, and what Stripe or Square are charging, because they're both around 2.9% plus 30 cents for each charge. And so if you're doing a lot of volume, those percentage points can add up. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah. And then our next category is going to be the price to value ratio. I gave a point to PT Everywhere for the fact that they do discount their rate pretty heavily to start off with. It's around $49.99, kind of with the sign up special, until you grow your patient caseload above 10 patients. And then from about 10 to 20 patients, that price jumps to about $99.99. And then once you get past that 20 patient mark, it goes all the way up to about $140, $150 a month. So it is very nice that they've designed it to be able to grow with you. And so you don't have to feel like you're spending a big percentage of what you're bringing in every month when you're just getting started and you're just seeing a few patients here or there. But on the other end, it does get pricier as you start to gain patient load, and it is definitely more expensive than JaneApp once you get up past that 20 patient mark. And so I gave a point to JaneApp that they do have long-term, they have a lower price point. Even with some of the add-ons like PhysiApp or PhysiTrack, it's going to be significantly cheaper than PT Everywhere, especially if you don't have a ton of users on JaneApp. And they also will work with you to start off at a lower rate. So I got a rate of $49.99 for the first 3 months, and then that jumps up to about $79.99 plus your cost of your subscription to PhysiApp if you want to integrate the home exercise program in with it. So you're looking at a little bit over $90 once you get out past that first few months. But again, it's nice that they kind of allow you to ease into things and give you a discounted rate up front. All right, so what have we learned from this comparison between the two EMRs? I end up giving a full 12 points in total to JaneApp. I just found that they had really great kind of customer service. The software in general was super user-friendly. Even if you don't have a really big tech background, it's pretty easy to navigate. And like I said, if you can't find what you're looking for on your own, they have a huge extensive library of videos and articles that if you end up putting in the right keywords, you're going to find what you're looking for pretty easily. And the price to value ratio I thought was a little bit higher on JaneApp, especially as you get out past those first few months and your caseload starts to grow beyond 10 to 20 patients. It really starts to become a much better value in comparison to PT Everywhere, which jumps up to that $140, $150 rate per month versus $80 or $90 for JaneApp, which is why I ended up only giving 7 points to PT Everywhere. I thought there were some just additional clicks around that were just really dragged things out and was a little bit less user-friendly than JaneApp, in my opinion. And when you're running busy practice, the less things you can think about as far as having to troubleshoot, wasting time with additional clicks can really add up in the long run, not only just for your time, but your mental sanity too, as well. So if any of you all have experience with either of these electronic medical records and want to share your experience, feel free to go ahead and comment down below. Or if anybody wants further information or wants to collaborate with me personally, I've gone ahead and included my link to my mobile practice, Limitless Concierge Physical Therapy, in the comments section down below. So feel free to go on there shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'd be happy to discuss any further information that you're looking for. All right, take care, guys.